In our quest to understand the mysteries of the Bible, one big question has caught the attention of many believers and scholars. Why was the Book of Jasher, an ancient work, banned? Known as one of the books that were not included in the official Bible, the Book of Jasher contains secret stories and information that can change the way we look at history and religious teachings. However, while many believe that banning this book is a cover-up, others think it contains knowledge that is inconsistent with human understanding of God's will. We, seeking truth and understanding of God's teachings, must carefully consider what we read, learn, and believe, because sometimes knowledge does not always bring enlightenment, but can lead us down the wrong paths if not controlled by faith and God's guidance. Number 1. The Journey of Faith. Expanded stories from the Book of Jasher. The Book of Jasher, also known as the Book of True Stories, is a work of particular historical and theological significance in Jewish culture. However, it is not considered an official part of the Bible. However, it is quoted in several passages of the Bible and has been passed down in Jewish and Christian communities. The Book of Jasher provides expanded versions of well-known stories from the Bible, especially those involving significant figures such as Abraham, Moses, and Joseph. These stories not only recount events, but also delve into details not found in the canonical Bible, shedding light on the trials and lessons of faith these figures endured. Abraham Levian frowned, the father of faith. In the Book of Jasher, Abraham is not only the father of the nation of Israel, but also a powerful symbol of unwavering faith and absolute loyalty to God. One of the most striking stories is that of Abraham as a young boy, courageously confronting his father Terah, who was a worshiper of idols. Contrary to his father's superstitions, Abraham challenged the worship of invisible gods and firmly expressed his belief in the one God. This image not only reflects his courage but also demonstrates the steadfastness in faith that Abraham pursued throughout his life. The Book of Jasher also expands on Abraham's trials, from leaving his hometown of Ur to follow God's call to sacrificing his son Isaac at God's command. These stories highlight Abraham's greatness and glorify his faith in the most challenging moments. Although these trials are mentioned in the Bible, the Book of Jasher provides vivid details, helping readers feel more clearly the hardship and sacrifice that Abraham went through. Moses, the leader who led the people. Moses is one of the most significant figures in biblical history, and the Book of Jasher offers insight into his life, especially his early years and the period before he led the Israelites out of Egypt. In the Book of Jasher, Moses is not only a great leader, but also a fierce warrior, facing off against Egyptian magicians in fierce battles. These details highlight Moses' courage and deep understanding of God's power, even in the face of dark forces. One of the remarkable stories in the Book of Jasher is when Moses kills an Egyptian to protect a Hebrew from oppression. In the Bible, this event is only mentioned briefly, but the Book of Jasher describes the act in detail, highlighting the violence and justice aspects of Moses' journey. This story shows Moses not only as a devout leader of faith, but also as someone who was willing to fight for justice and freedom for the oppressed. Joseph, a journey of trial and resurrection. Joseph, son of Jacob, is one of the most dramatic figures in the Bible, notable for his story of the betrayal of his brothers and his arduous journey to becoming the vizier of Egypt. The Book of Jasher expands on this story with additional details about Joseph's life, essential encounters, and events that the Bible does not mention. In the Book of Jasher, Joseph is not only portrayed as a beloved son, but also as a dreamer, an important trait that the book sheds much more light on than the Bible does. In addition to the details of Joseph's life before he was sold into Egypt, the Book of Jasher also describes the complex relationships between Joseph and his brothers. These tense situations reveal Joseph as not only a victim of betrayal, but also a person capable of forgiveness and justice. In doing so, Joseph's story becomes a lesson in perseverance, forgiveness, and recovery from great trials. The historical and theological value of the Book of Jasher. The Book of Jasher is believed to have originated in ancient times and is mentioned in several passages of the Bible, such as Joshua and 2 Samuel. Although not included in the official Jewish or Christian Bibles, the Book of Jasher is still considered an essential document in understanding the stories of the Bible. It not only provides insight into the people and events of the Bible, but also adds details that enrich the stories of faith and the trials that these people endured. While the authenticity of the Book of Jasher is still a subject of debate, it is a valuable resource for those interested in learning more about its history and theology. Many scholars consider this a useful work, providing deeper insight into the stories recorded in the Bible, thereby helping us to better understand the lessons of faith, trials, and restoration that God has for the characters in it, including the story and lessons of faith. Grandfather Lily and His Christmas Gift by Robert Abbott. Edited by Amy Short. The Book of Jasher not only expands the stories of the Bible, but also brings profound lessons about faith, patience, and faithfulness to God. Each character, such as Abraham, Moses, and Joseph, experienced difficult trials, but they overcame them because of their absolute trust in God. The stories in the Book of Jasher help us realize that faith is not always easy, but when we persevere and trust in God, trials become opportunities for growth and restoration. In this way, the Book of Jasher is not only a book of historical details, but also a treasure trove of faith lessons, reminding us that God is always with us in every trial, and when we trust in Him, He will lead us to ultimate victory. Number 2. Heroes of the Bible, a deep look at humanity in the Book of Jasher. In biblical stories, we often picture heroes as people of extraordinary strength, characters of great virtue and indomitable spirit. However, the Book of Jasher offers a different perspective on these heroes. Although not considered an official part of the Bible in most Jewish and Christian traditions, the Book of Jasher opens up a colorful picture of the lives of biblical characters, not only their feats, but also their internal struggles. Through it, we see that these heroes are not emotionless people, but real people with worries, weaknesses, and painful choices. They are not just ideal statues, but living, conflicted, and fragile individuals like us. Abraham, the quintessential example in the Book of Jasher, is not only a father of faith, but also a man who faced severe trials in his life. When God asked him to sacrifice his son Isaac, Abraham was not an emotionless man, not a man who was always steadfast and confident. On the contrary, the Book of Jasher shows the extreme pain he endured in that difficult decision, proving that even the greatest men have moments of weakness, internal battles they fight every day. Moses, one of the most outstanding leaders in history, was not a man without fear or helplessness. As he led the Israelites out of Egypt, he faced opposition from his people, seemingly insurmountable challenges, and an overwhelming amount of responsibility. The Book of Jasher provides a vivid picture of Moses, a human leader who was not always confident, sometimes skeptical, and constantly struggling with doubts about his abilities. This helps readers realize that the heroes of the Bible are not perfect characters, but real people with emotions and weaknesses. The story of David, who defeated Goliath, is not a story of perfection. In the Book of Jasher, David is not just a mighty warrior but also a man full of emotions and pain. Although he could defeat powerful enemies, the bad decisions in his personal life left a deep mark. His betrayal of Uriah and his complicated relationship with Bathsheba are lessons in human weakness. Although a great king, David paid the price for his mistakes, reminding us that even heroes can make mistakes and face the consequences of their wrong choices. The characters in the Book of Jasher are not just heroes with extraordinary powers, but also human beings with emotions, inner struggles, and inevitable conflicts. Emotions in the Book of Jasher are not a side element, but an essential part of character development. The emotions of love, fear, hope, and despair are the factors that shape their actions. Noah, who built the ark to save humanity, was not only a man loyal to God, but also a man who loved his family deeply. That love motivated him to carry out the difficult mission, despite the ridicule and rejection of those around him. Exercise contains the key to life satisfaction. The Book of Jasher highlights an important point. Emotions not only bring characters to life, but they are also the driving force that helps characters decide their actions. These emotions can be strong love, like Noah's, or fear, like Moses's, when facing a significant challenge. They are essential elements that help characters develop, help them face unpredictable challenges, and are the invisible source of strength that helps them overcome all difficulties. In addition, an essential element that cannot be absent in the lives of these characters is choice. Each character in the Book of Jasher faces difficult decisions. Sometimes those decisions do not bring immediate good results. In particular, each choice carries with it a part of fate, a part of the future that they cannot fully control. But the important thing is that no matter what decision they make, the characters in the Book of Jasher face the fact that their choices affect not only themselves, but also those around them. The inner struggles, raw emotions, and painful choices that make the characters of the Bible more relatable and accessible than ever before. They are not static statues, but human beings who are fallible, yet capable of redemption and change. Through them, we see that greatness does not come from perfection, but from the ability to rise from each fall and continue to act with faith in God. With the stories in the Book of Jasher, we not only learn the lesson of the greatness of the biblical characters, but also understand that greatness comes from the inner struggles, the struggles with emotions, and the difficult choices they faced. These characters are not perfect models, but real people capable of change and recovery. Therefore, their stories are not only lessons of resilience, but also lessons of forgiveness, repentance, and salvation. Number 3, Angelic Intervention and God's justice. In the Bible, angels are not only messengers, but also instruments of God to demonstrate His love, power, and justice. They not only appear at essential moments in history, but are also present in the daily lives of believers. Every time an angel intervenes in human life, it is a sign of God's deep concern for His people. Angels are God's protectors, guides, and enforcers of justice. They provide protection in dangerous situations. They are our guides when we are faced with important decisions, and sometimes they are the ones who carry out God's judgment on the wicked. Think of the story in Genesis, when an angel saves Lot and his family from the destruction of Sodom. When the city is in danger of being destroyed because of its sin, the angel appears to warn and lead Lot away from the city. This clearly demonstrates God's love and protection for the righteous, His chosen ones. Another example from the New Testament is when an angel gave Joseph directions in a dangerous situation. After Mary became pregnant with Jesus, the angel told Joseph to take Mary and the child to Egypt to escape the danger from King Herod. The angel not only helped them avoid danger, but also guided them in carrying out God's plan. This shows that God's concern is not only protection in times of danger, but also direction in our lives. In addition to protection and guidance, angels also play an essential role in carrying out God's justice. In the Bible, we see angels not hesitating to judge when necessary. One of the clearest examples is when the Assyrian army besieged Jerusalem under the leadership of King Hezekiah. Despite the large and powerful Assyrian army, an angel of the Lord came and destroyed 1,850 Assyrian soldiers, demonstrating God's infinite power to protect His people and execute justice. However, angel intervention is not just an important historical event. It is also a constant presence in the lives of believers. Throughout the ages, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, angels have always been protectors, guides, and helpers of God's people through the trials and temptations of life. Their presence shows that God's intervention is not a single event, but a continuous, unceasing reality. In Hebrews 1:14, angels are described as ministering spirits, sent forth to serve those who will inherit salvation. This indicates that angels are always present and ready to protect and guide those who believe in God. They appear not only in important moments, but also in everyday situations, helping us overcome challenges and keep the faith. Paul in the New Testament also experienced challenging situations, and angels were always with him, protecting and comforting him. A typical example is during Paul's journey across the sea, when he and his companions faced the danger of a great storm. Paul recounted that an angel of God appeared to him and assured him that he would survive and complete the mission that God had given him. Est and Siletes. This shows that angelic intervention is not just a temporary event, but a constant protection, helping God's children overcome all challenges in life. Paul's story also reminds us that no matter how challenging and difficult life may be, God's intervention will always be present when we need it most. God never abandons those who believe in Him, and His angels are always ready to protect, help, and guide us. Even when we feel alone or helpless, we always have the protection of God and His angels by our side. God's love and justice are not only shown through His saving and protecting us, but also through His righteous judgment on those who do evil. Angels are not only messengers of God, but also agents of His justice on earth. They are the instruments God uses to execute His judgment on the wicked and disobedient. Every time an angel intervenes, we are reminded of God's boundless love, of the justice that He brings to this world. Even though life's trials may be complex and heavy, we can trust that God is always there, and that He will use His angels to protect and help us. Angelic intervention is not something rare or strange, but is a part of every believer's life, a constant presence of God in our lives. With angelic intervention, we can rest assured and trust that God will always protect and guide us through every trial. No matter how complex and tempting this world is, we always have God's protection, and angels are always there to help and guide us. God is just and loving, and through the intervention of angels, He always shows His love and care for His people. Number 4. Prophecy and Blessings, Lessons from the Book of Jasher. The Book of Jasher, also known as the Book of the Righteous, is an ancient work not part of the canonical Bible, but mentioned in several ancient and traditional Jewish documents. Although not recognized as part of the Bible, the Book of Jasher provides us with insight into prophecies and historical events that are not included in the canonical books of the Bible. It provides detailed explanations and clarifications of God's promises to nations and historical events. One of the essential aspects of the Book of Jasher is the blessings that Abraham received from God and the prophecies that Isaac gave to his sons. In the Bible, these blessings are mentioned briefly, but the Book of Jasher expands and clarifies these prophecies. It explains the events that will happen to the generations of Isaac's sons, from the future turmoil to the struggles of their descendant nations. These blessings are not only a father's affirmation to his children, but also God's confirmation of the workings of the grand plans of human history. We conquest the future through the visual aspirations of the past. When looking at the prophecies about the future of the people of Israel, the Book of Jasher adds a new depth. While the canonical books of the Bible, such as Genesis or Exodus, only record prophecies about the Israelites' deliverance from Egyptian slavery, the Book of Jasher expands Moses' vision. He not only foresees the day of deliverance, but also witnesses the trials that the people will face throughout their journey. From the nation's founding to the fierce wars and restoration in the last days, Moses prophesied all. These visions help us better understand the historical events of the Israelites and expand the significance of the related prophecies. The prophetic elements in the Book of Jasher are not simply predictions of future events. They contain profound lessons about faithfulness to God and the restoration of nations. God uses these prophecies to teach us about the greatness of His plan, about how He uses different people and nations to accomplish His great purposes. These prophecies are not meaningless predictions, but teachings on living according to God's guidance. Generation after generation. A unique feature of the Book of Jasher is its connection to the canonical books of the Bible. Although not recognized as part of the Bible, the prophecies and predictions in the Book of Jasher are often closely linked to books such as Genesis, Exodus, and the prophets. It complements and clarifies the biblical visions, helping us to better understand the events and blessings that God has bestowed upon the nations, especially the people of Israel. The Book of Jasher provides an overview, a clearer picture of what God has done, is doing, and will do to fulfill His promises. Although the exact origins of the Book of Jasher are unknown, it is believed to be an ancient document that records essential events in the history of the people of Israel and surrounding nations. The Book of Jasher is not only an epic book, but also contains profound moral and religious lessons. It is a valuable reference for religious communities, especially in clarifying details that are not mentioned in the Orthodox Bible. So, from the prophecies of Abraham, Isaac, to the visions of Moses, the Book of Jasher is not only a historical record, but also a treasure trove of spiritual lessons. The prophecies in the Book of Jasher are not dry predictions, but teachings about the faithfulness, restoration, and greatness of God's plan for His people and all mankind. These prophecies also teach us to live in hope and trust God's promises, knowing that in every moment, no matter how difficult or challenging, God is present and working out His plan of redemption. Footnote: although the Book of Jasher is not officially recognized as part of the Bible, its value in expanding and clarifying the prophecies is undeniable. Reading the Book of Jasher, we not only learn about the history of the people of Israel, but also realize that every event in history is in the hands of God, part of His grand plan for the world. Remember, prophecies are not a glimpse into a vague future, but an affirmation of what is to come, a reminder of faithfulness and restoration. With these valuable lessons, the Book of Jasher remains an important source for understanding God's faithfulness and how He has worked through history, nations, and prophecy to accomplish His great purposes. Number 5. The Book of Jasher, the mystery of the untold stories. End of preamble. Though not recognized as part of the Bible in the Jewish or Christian tradition, the Book of Jasher has had a profound influence, leaving a significant mark on culture and religion over the centuries. The stories and themes in this book continue to attract interest and debate in the scholarly community, especially for those who desire to explore in depth the characters and events of the Bible. Although not included in the official canon of sacred books, the Book of Jasher has an important role in the Jewish tradition. Mentioned in Talmudic texts and many other ancient books, it has become a valuable source for interpreting biblical stories. Jewish scholars have studied and cited the Book of Jasher throughout the ages, enriching the understanding of classic figures such as Joshua, David, and Abraham. Although not considered an official part of the Bible, the Book of Jasher has been an essential part of discussions about stories that are not made clear in the official texts. The Book of Jasher has not been without interest in the Christian community. After its manuscript was rediscovered in the 17th century, many Christians read and studied it to learn more about biblical figures and events. The book is not recognized as canonical, but it has significantly influenced the development of theology and scholarly debates. The religious details and messages in the book have prompted reflection on the authenticity of the stories and their role in religious history. The Book of Jasher is notable for its untold stories about biblical figures. Events such as the life of Noah, the battles of Joshua, or the journeys of figures such as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are described in greater detail and depth, expanding our understanding of them. These stories not only enrich the picture of the classic characters, but also contribute to historical events that are not fully mentioned in the official versions of the Bible. Although the book is not recognized as canonical, many believe that the stories in the book can shed light on unexplored aspects of events in biblical history. What is special is that the Book of Jasher is not limited to ancient stories, but also stimulates discussions about their authenticity and meaning. Although not officially recognized, the book continues to contribute to the debate about stories not recorded in the Bible and profoundly impacts the religious community. Many consider it an important document, helping to decipher the relationships between ancient cultures and religions. After the manuscript of the Book of Jasher was rediscovered in the 17th century, it attracted great attention in the academic and religious communities. This rediscovery not only sparked renewed interest in the book, but also fueled debates about its authenticity and significance in the biblical context. Today, the book is still studied and read by those seeking to learn more about historical and religious stories, exploring details not recognized in the Bible. Although it has no official canonical value, the influence of the Book of Jasher still resonates in modern academic and religious discussions. The authenticity of the Book of Jasher is a subject of constant debate within the educational community. Some scholars believe that it may be a copy of an older document, while others believe that it is of later origin and may have been supplemented with new details. While there is no general consensus on the book's authenticity, this debate has created a rich space for research and exploration. Modern studies of the Book of Jasher aim to clarify historical and religious details and better understand the book's influence on cultures and religions throughout the centuries. The resurfacing of the Book of Jasher in the 17th century not only revived untold stories, but also prompted profound reflections on the connections between ancient cultures and religions. Although not considered part of the official Bible, the book has played an essential role in exploring and expanding our understanding of events in religious history. The Book of Jasher may not be integral to the official sacred texts, but it still holds great value in scholarly and spiritual discussions. These untold stories and unrecognized details help broaden our view of the profound mysteries of the Bible. Although the Book of Jasher does not have official canonical value, its influence is undeniable. The stories in the book continue to be studied and explored, contributing to a richer picture of the characters and events of the Bible. Therefore, this book continues to be an essential document for those who want to explore more about the mysteries of history and religion, helping to expand understanding of the connections between ancient cultures and religions. Number 6. Why is the Book of Jasher omitted from the Bible? Parshas Chronicle. The Book of Jasher, also known as the Book of the Righteous, is an ancient work mentioned in the Old Testament, but is not included in the official Bibles of most branches of Christianity and Judaism. So, why was it excluded? The answer could be due to some reasons, including its absence from ancient manuscripts and its controversial content. One of the most apparent reasons is how the book portrays biblical heroes. Significant figures such as Abraham, Moses, and David are often portrayed in the Bible in an idealized light, as God's chosen ones, perfect models of faith and obedience. However, in the Book of Jasher, we see a different picture, a deeper look into the darker aspects of their lives. These characters' flaws, failings, and even failures are clearly portrayed. This may detract from the holiness that many believers expect from these figures and may lead to controversy. Indeed, the stories in the Book of Jasher can confuse many people. When the great heroes of the Bible are viewed through the lens of their personal mistakes and trials, they are no longer seen as perfect models. Instead, they become real people with struggles, flaws, and even embarrassing failures. This may cause readers to question the idealization of these figures, making the book an unacceptable source for many religious communities. Additionally, another reason for the omission of the Book of Jasher may be its obscurity in religious history. Although the book is mentioned in 2 Old Testament passages, Joshua 10:13 and 2 Samuel 1:18, it does not exist explicitly in ancient manuscripts or in critical religious documents. The book's absence from religious cultures may explain why it was not widely accepted. Any book that was not well preserved or not prominent enough in the spiritual community over the centuries may have been considered less critical and excluded from the official canon of the Bible. It can be argued that the Book of Jasher was excluded not only for its content, but also for historical and cultural factors. Religious councils throughout the centuries decided which books were accepted into the Bible based on specific criteria. These criteria included the book's authenticity, its alignment with the basic teachings of the faith, and its conformity with previously accepted documents. If a book does not meet these standards, it will not be included in the Bible. Therefore, the absence of the Book of Jasher from the official Bible can be explained from many different angles. It may be because it contains details that do not fit the idealized image of biblical figures, or because it has not been well preserved in religious history. However, whatever the reason, this exclusion makes the Book of Jasher a controversial and unacceptable document for many people. Throughout history, some ancient documents, such as the Book of Jasher, have been banned for religious and political reasons. Although there are different views on why the Book of Jasher was not recognized in the official Bible, we can learn an important lesson. Knowledge, even if it appears to be accurate, can sometimes be controlled to protect a particular system or belief. This is not to say that we should reject what is not recognized or what is forbidden, but rather a reminder of the importance of seeking the truth, even when it may bring us challenges or difficulties. The lesson of this prohibition is an encouragement to continually seek a deeper understanding of God and what He wants to teach us, whether through official or unofficial sources. God always wants us to seek truth and understanding in Him, but it is essential to realize that the path can be challenging and sometimes requires facing the unknown. We will discover profound and valuable lessons when we open our hearts and minds to know Him. Stay tuned and subscribe to our channel to continue our journey of discovering God's lessons and revealed truths together.